And the reason why I came up with this was that last week we talked about Psalm 23, or 23rd Psalm. And we were talking about um, the, the relationship we have with God, and how God blesses us. He anoints us, he restores us, he watches over us. And at the end of that lesson, there were a couple of discussions that we talked about, and the story of Joseph came up. And so what I want to do, I said, okay, let's so the Lord said, let's have a lesson on Joseph then. Let's talk about Joseph. And you can't talk about Joseph unless you talk about, in my mind, God leads me to, let's talk about God's favor, the favor of God. So let's talk about that a little bit, about the favor of God. Now, what is God's favor? Here's a definition that I found, and I've kind of taken some from other places and put it, but is God's movement on a specific situation or life of one of his own over and above what would have happened in the natural. So what it is that it's when God moves in such a way that you know it's him, that it is over and above what you would have expected. It's beyond the gifts that he gives you. It's beyond the abilities that he blesses you with and benefit. It's those things that you would not have even expected to happen, but it happens. And so it's kind of hard to put your arms around it or whatever, but basically it's those things that happen. For example, if someone comes up and they're a good athlete, and they say, well, we're going to move you to this level and this level, and you go, well, yeah, you would expect that, and God has blessed them with those gifts. But then when somebody who doesn't look like they have those gifts and they get those opportunities, you're going, wait a minute, how did that happen? How did they get that job? They don't have the background to get that job. And then when they get into it, things just blossom. That's God's favor. Mm-hmm. So we talk about favor. So we're going to talk about favor tonight. A couple of verses that talk about favor. 106 verse 4 says, remember me, Lord, when you show favor to your people, come to my aid when you save them. The thing is that it says in that verse is basically he's asking for favor. You can ask for favor. You can ask God to show you favor in a situation or in something that's happening. You say, you know what, Lord, I need favor. I don't know about you, but when I was in school, I asked for favor on them exams. Lord, show me favor. I mean, even if I don't know the answers, if I didn't study the right stuff, show me favor. Have that professor, when they look at that final grade and they looking at them points, and I'm sitting on the borderline, show me favor. When I'm going to see the doctor, I need favor in there. When they look at them tests, or when I'm applying for a job, and I look at those who are ahead of me and those who are sitting in that room and knowing they've applied for those positions. It looks like to the world, it looks like they're more qualified than them. Lord, you show me favor. So that's what that is. And so you can ask for favor. Second, it says Proverbs 3:3-4. Let not mercy and truth forsake you. And then verse 4, and so find favor and high esteem in the sight of God. Not only in the sight of God, but man will see it. People will see it. That favor will be on your life, and it'll be apparent to others. And so we're going to talk a little about that tonight. So it's God's favor. So tonight we're going to explore God's favor. Now in this favor, the other thing about favor is that it's specific to a specific situation for a specific purpose. God has a purpose for favor. It's specific for a specific situation, specific person, specific purpose. So you'll see the specificity of favor. Those who have had favor, Samson, those who know the story of Samson, he was favored. He had that great strength. David, how he was favored at a very young age to kill Goliath, and nobody else could do it, but God favored him to do it. Solomon, how he was favored to have the knowledge that he had and things that he did. Daniel and his 3 Hebrew friends, and how they were favored when they were in Babylon, and they had the abilities, and 3 of them survived the fiery furnace. Daniel survived the lion's den. And then Mary, mother of Jesus, said, hail Mary, full of favor. God has favored you. So those are the things that people said. He says, and so I've got a question there. Why and how does he choose? In other words, God choose the people he wants. It's God's choice. It's God's choice. God can choose who to favor and who not to favor. And he has a purpose for what he does. So those are some general things about favor, but let's get into some specifics. And by doing so, let's get into the life of Joseph. And let's look at Joseph's life. And in Joseph's life, I'm going to give key points in Joseph's life that I think talk about how favor works. And again, this is not all of them, but there's some key things about favor. How does God use favor in someone's life? We'll see how he used favor in Joseph's life. Some different aspects of favor, things that you need to be noticeable or be aware of. How the world views God's favor. What do they do when they see God's favor? And then the challenges of having favor. Favor comes with challenges. To whom much is given, much is required. So let's see, and let's look at Joseph's life and favor. Beginning at Genesis 37. It says, now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, because he had been born to him in his old age, and he made him a richly ornamented robe for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him much more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. First key point about favor. God can give favor to anyone in any situation. In other words, favor does not come in a perfect situation. In other words, favor only comes for people who are from good families and have strong faith. That was not the family Joseph was born in. Joseph's family was a mess. Jacob's family was a mess. In fact, when we get a chance to go through Bible study, I have a Bible study on the book of Genesis, and I go through a lot of those in Genesis. In one area, I call it Jacob's dysfunctional family. Jacob's family was a mess. He had 2 wives. He had children by those wives. In addition, he had the maids for those wives, and he had babies by those maids. And so he had all these sons. He had one daughter named Dinah. And his sons, Jacob's sons were rough. I mean, Daniel and Reuben and Issachar and Judah, and you did not want to cross Jacob's sons. Okay, their sister was mistreated by somebody. They wiped out a whole town. I mean, Joseph, it was something. One of his sons slept with one of his wives, one of the wives' maids. It was difficult. And then Jacob favored Joseph over the other kids. So Jacob's participating, or he's contributing to this. So basically my point is that it's a difficult family. And my point is that Joseph is born into this and God favors him. My point is, don't think you can't be favored or somebody can't be favored because they don't come from the best family. They don't come from the best situation. They don't come from a family that is of means. That's not the case. So here's Joseph, okay? So I want you to understand the family that Joseph is going into. And favor comes to those that God chooses, okay? Second, it says, now Joseph had a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. Then he had another dream, and he told it to his brothers. Listen, he said, I had a dream, and this time the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. When he told it to his father as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, what is this dream you have? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually bow down to the ground before you? Point number 2, people may not like or understand your favor. Many people, when they see favor on someone, they become jealous. They don't like it. They become upset. Who do you think you are? Oh, you think you better than us. And it didn't have anything to do with it. Joseph being young, not really understanding how to handle favor. The point thing is that Joseph didn't understand, that we need to understand, is that when you have favor, be careful how you handle it. Because everybody can't handle favor. Oh, I want to tell y'all what God did for me, and I want to tell you what God did for me. Everybody's not happy when they hear that. Well, how come you get all that? How come I don't get it? You've got to be careful how you handle it. Everybody is not going to like you. In fact, there will be people who will turn on you because you have favor. They will not like you, as Joseph's brothers did. It says they hated him. And that was because he had favor on him. It wasn't Joseph. Joseph didn't do anything. But that's how the world views it. There's jealousy with that favor. Second, his father didn't understand it. This is his father who loves him more than his other brothers. And he rebuked him. In other words, daddy didn't understand it. So even those that love you and care for you may not understand your favor. You say, God wants you to do what? He wants you to go where? Oh, God ain't told you that. Oh, God ain't had to do that. No, I don't really, you out of your mind. Don't be talking like that around me. I know better. You think I'm your father? Don't you think I know better than you? When God is leading you and God, in other words, everybody is not going to understand your favor. Everybody's not going to understand favor. And the thing I want you to understand is that those who have favor, be careful that we don't become jealous of them, that we are patient with them to say, well, if God is leading you that way, brother, if God is leading you that way, sister, God bless you. In fact, what I have found, brothers and sisters, if I may say so, that it talks about in Psalm 23, we said, he anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. If you see somebody with favor, you want to hang around them folk. Because you can live on that overflow. Said, my cup runneth over. Brother, I got a cup. All that stuff you can't handle, put some of that in my cup. You don't want to get mad at them folk. You want to hang around them folk. Because their cup's going to run over. So when favor comes, you may have someone that's close to you that has that favor. Be careful how you handle it. There's a situation that happened to me, and someone told me one time, look, don't get mad at them. They just don't understand. They don't get it. And they may not ever get it, but that's not important. God has given you favor to do what he wants you to do. And you need to just do what God has told you to do. Genesis 37, verse 17. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan. What had happened here is that Jacob had told Joseph, hey, go check on your brothers and see what your brothers are doing. In other words, to put it in our terms, Joseph was his daddy's snitch. Go out and see what them brothers are doing. Because Jacob knew his sons was a mess. Go out there and see what they're doing. And if they ain't doing what they're supposed to do, he told him, if you look at those scriptures, get a chance to read it. And if they ain't doing, come back and tell me what them boys is up to. So Joseph said, yeah, daddy, I'll go up there. It says, but they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. Mm. Here comes the dreamer, they said to each other, come on, let's kill him. Judah said to his brothers, what will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites. So the brothers agreed. Point number 3, favor does not immune you to trouble. Mm. Just because you have favor don't mean you're not going to have trouble. In fact, in some cases, you may have more trouble because people are jealous of you. Oh, I thought I was favored. I thought God was blessing me. He is blessing you, but that don't make you immune to not having trouble. There will be people who won't like you. There'll be situations that will be difficult. There'll be times when there'll be hard things that will come to you, but that comes with the territory. Just because you have favor don't mean everything. That doesn't mean smooth sailing. That don't mean everything's going to be nice and easy. That is not what favor is. So you're not immune to trouble. Look at him. His brothers wanted to kill him. How bad? How much bad worse can it get? That your own brothers want to kill you? I mean, that's how difficult it was. But note here it says, Judah said to his brothers, what will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. My point is that God was there to protect him. Well, he protected him. He sold him to the Ishmaelites. Yeah, but he didn't kill him. God had a plan. Sometimes too, when they sell you into slavery, sometimes when they don't like you because of your favor, they'll try to get you in trouble. They'll try to sell you into slavery. Like what, Rev? Like trying to get you hooked on drugs. Let's sell him into slavery. Let's get him drunk. Let's get her hooked on drugs. Let's get her with this guy that she ain't got no business with, so that he'll treat her bad, or that woman will treat him bad. Or let's have her do something, let him do something to get him in trouble. So again, my point is that favor does not make you immune to trouble. Trouble will come. And in this case, this is what happened to Joseph. He was sold to the Ishmaelites and then moved, and the Ishmaelites then took him to Egypt. Genesis 39. And Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him from the Ishmaelites. The Lord was with Joseph. And his master saw that the Lord was with him. And the Lord made all he did to prosper in his hand. And the blessing of the Lord was on all that he did in the house and in the field. And thus he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he did not know what he had except for the bread which he ate. Number 3, favor goes with you wherever you go. Even though they treat you bad, even though you get into situations that aren't good, guess what? God goes with you. God does not abandon you. No matter how difficult it is, God's still with you. I don't know about you, but that's exciting to me. Psalm 23, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. The Lord was with Joseph. And he took his favor with him. His favor was not located, it was not geographically located where he lived. It went with him. Wherever he went, the favor went with him. Notice here it says, and his master saw that the Lord was with him. Now this is a Egyptian soldier. He's a captain of the guard. In other words, he's not a believer in the Lord, in the one and only God of the Jewish belief, or our God. But yet he saw what was happening to Joseph. Everything that Joseph touched, it worked. Everything he did, it prospered. And the Egyptians saw it. My point is, when God's favor is on you, people will see it. You don't have to say, hallelujah, I just want you to know that God has favored me. They'll see it. They'll know it. I talked to one person one time, and they said, you know, the person they were working for said, I don't know what it is about you, but ever since you showed up, our sales have gone sky high. That's God's favor. The favor's on him. So wherever he's at, everybody's favored around him. That's God's favor, y'all. And it says Potiphar saw it. Notice here too, it said he made him in charge of everything in his house. Where did Joseph learn that? Joseph didn't work in the house. Joseph was daddy's favorite. He sat around and did much enough. The boy, his brothers did all the work. My point is, where did he learn all that? Where did he get all that? God's hand was on him. God favored him. So everything he touched, it worked. It prospered. And so Potiphar was smart. Potiphar didn't get mad. Potiphar didn't get jealous like his brothers. Potiphar said, give him some more stuff to do. That area is prosperous, let him do that. That area is prosperous, let him do that. Brothers and sisters, when God's hand is on you and people see it and are wise, they'll give you more stuff to do. Why they giving me all this extra work? Why? Because when you work on it, it works. You're favored, and the people see it. So everybody around him got blessed. Sister Debbie and I, the pastor who mentored me, when he worked at a company, he said he told them one time when they talked about all the numbers, they were hitting all their numbers and exceeding their numbers. He said, "What's going on here?" And he said, "I don't want to. I don't take this the wrong way, fellas, but the reason why it's like this is because I'm here. Because I'm favored, so you're favored." And I love this verse, y'all. I love this verse. This is one of my favorite verses in the Bible. He said he did not know what he had except the bread he ate. Look at Genesis 39:6 in the New Living Translation. It says, with Joseph there, he didn't worry about a thing except what kind of food to eat. That's all he had to worry about. In other words, how blessed are you when you come home and all you say is, "Honey, what's for dinner?" That's it. That's blessed. Think about it. You didn't have to say, "Were they mean to you at work today? Or are the kids okay? Or did we get all the bills paid?" All you had to say is, the only thing you worried about is, "What's for dinner?" If you come home and that's all you got to worry about, you blessed. I'm telling y'all. And they said that's how blessed he was. He didn't care about nothing but what was going to be for dinner. That's it. What's for breakfast, Joseph? What's for lunch? What's for dinner? He didn't have to worry about nothing else. You know what? I'm going to share this with you. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, Steph. That was my goal when I read this scripture. I said, that's my goal as Evie's husband, is that all I want her to worry about is what's for dinner.
Is that right?
That things will work so well in the house, and I will help make sure that everything is taken care of so well that the only thing Evie got to think about is, "Honey, what's going to be for dinner tonight?" That's it. Brothers, that's blessed right there. Now, y'all may not get excited about that, but that excites me. Just think about that. All I want to ever worry about was what's to eat. That's it.
She want to worry about that RV. Sorry.
Lord have mercy. Okay. That's how blessed he was. That's the favor of God on Joseph. Okay. Well, after a while, his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said, "Come to bed with me," but he refused. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God? One day he went into the house to attend his duties, and none of the household servants was inside. She caught him by the cloak, but he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. Next point, favor does not make you immune to temptation. Or let me put it another way. Favor is attractive. Favor is attractive. People are drawn to you because of favor. As Potiphar was drawn to Joseph because of all the good things he did, other people will see it too, and they'll be drawn to you, but for some things that are not appropriate. So be careful with favor. Favor is attractive. Because when you have favor, with favor comes responsibility. And with that responsibility, you have a certain amount of power. Well, power is attractive to people. They want to be around the people who's powerful. They want to be around the folks who've been blessed with money. They want to be around the folks who are smart in them classes. Here they come. When I was in undergraduate school, God had blessed me. They told me I would never make it in school. I never do nothing. Our first semester in my undergrad, I made a 4.0. You know, one of the students who I went to school with, who didn't care about me, if nothing, soon as they heard that, "Hi, how you doing?" I'm like, "No, don't even go there. Don't even try, okay?" Favor. Didn't care nothing about it. I ain't changed that much. the favor of God becomes attractive. Brothers, be careful when God's favor is on you, that you don't get mixed up with folk who see your favor and they think it's, and sometimes what happens is we think it's us. Oh yeah, I am all that, ain't I? That ain't you. That's God's favor on you. That's what they see. They ain't seeing you. Come on, somebody. Ladies, be careful. Girl. Yes. Be careful. Favor is attractive. Don't let it go to your head like it did Samson and got him in trouble. Notice that Joseph had the opportunity to sin and he didn't. Joseph didn't take advantage of it. I mean, he could have probably got with that woman and maybe nobody ever found out. But they say nobody wasn't there. We'll never know. But Joseph said, what? I can't sin against God because God sees. God knows. What is it? What does Psalm 23 say? 23rd Psalm. He leads me what in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Joseph said, ain't doing it. And I've missed some scriptures here, but the verses after this, after verse 8 says that she did it day after day after day. So it wasn't like one time and then, okay, I'll just leave you alone. No, she kept coming. So he had to fight that temptation day after day after day. Okay. And it says she caught him by the cloak and he ran out of the house. Some folks said he ran out of the house because she was trying to grab him. I said he ran out of the house because she was getting to him. Brothers and sisters, the Bible says flee temptation, meaning sometimes you need to just run. You need to get up out of there. A good run is better than a bad stand, brothers and sisters. Get up and get out. Well, I can handle it. I can take it. No, you can't. Run. The Bible says flee. It doesn't say stand on your ground. Stand on the law. No, it says flee temptation. Don't try to fight it. You better get out. And that's what Joseph did. So my point is that be careful with favor. Favor is tempting to those who are being favored because they can get into their head and think they all that, or those who are seeing you favored who are tempted to come to you with bad motives. Watch out for the favor. Genesis 39. She kept his cloak beside her until his master came home. Then she told him this story. The Hebrew slave you brought to us came to me to make sport of me. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison. But while Joseph was there in prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden, because the Lord was with him, and whatever he did, the Lord made it prosper. Favor continues in the midst of mistreatment. In other words, when people lie and slander you, don't think that when you're favored, that won't happen. People will come after you. And notice here, he did nothing wrong. And this woman who did this, note how she did this. Okay, I'd never seen this until I just looked at this just when I was studying this, but I read this time, but I never caught it until now. Notice what she said. She said, that Hebrew slave you brought to us. In other words, there was no question. It didn't. What did it say? So Joseph's master took him and put him in prison. Didn't say, now, honey, are you sure about that? Now, wait a minute, honey. How long he been working here? Are you sure he did that? Notice she said Hebrew slave, meaning racism. Okay. Have you kind of heard that before in this society when somebody wants to get somebody and they won't say that man, they'll say that.
Black.
Hello. Then there's no question. There's no court case. There's no discussion about whether it happened or not. That person did it. She knew exactly the word to use. So he's in prison. But notice it says, the Lord was with him. In other words, the Lord goes everywhere he goes. And kindness was granted to him in the eyes of the prison warden. In other words, even in a bad situation, God will favor you in a bad situation. Even though people talk about you, they lie on you, they do all kinds of evil against you, don't you know that God's favor will still be on you? And wherever they send you, your hand will still be, you'll still be blessed. They can't stop your blessings. They can't stop your favor. They can't do it. God's favor is just that strong. And notice it said, because the Lord was with him and whatever he did, the Lord made it prosper. In other words, what the scriptures don't say there is that verse 22, I just didn't put that there because of time and space. The warden put him over the jail. He was the leader of the jail. So even though he's in a bad situation, God's favor is still there. God's favor never leaves you. That's how the blessings of God, that's how favor works. Chapter 40, 1 through 23, some of you may be familiar with this story. There was a butler and a baker, and they came to Joseph, and Joseph couldn't interpret dreams. And they had this dream. And Joseph told one of them, you're not going to live. The Pharaoh's going to put you to death. And the other one, the butler, he told him that Pharaoh's going to put him back in this position. And the butler says, I got your back, brother. As soon as I get to that point where I get back, I'm going to tell the Pharaoh about you. Got there and forgot all about it. In other words, don't look for people to bless you. Wait for God to bless you. So favor continues in the midst of wrongdoing, trouble, even bad places, in bad situations, places where you don't want to be. God's favor is still going to be with you. It's still there. When 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. In the morning, his mind was troubled. So he sent for all the magicians, but no one could interpret them for him. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph. Pharaoh said to Joseph, I had a dream and no one could interpret it. But I said, it is said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. Then verse 39, now what Joseph told him all about it and told him what to do. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has made all this known to you, there's no one so discerning and as wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you. Point, God's favor will prevail. What God's favor going to have for you, you're going to get it. Notice how long it took. 2 years. It said that the dreams and the favor that God had for Joseph that he revealed to him, Joseph was probably 17 years old, probably, roughly somewhere between 12 and 17. He became prime minister of Egypt when he was in his 30s. It took that long for his favor to come. David was 12, 13 probably when he was anointed king. He didn't take the throne until he was in his 30s. What's my point? Don't expect the favor that God has for you, the ultimate plan that God has for you. It's not going to happen overnight. You got to go through some stuff. Sometimes you got to get sold into slavery. Sometimes you got to go to the jail. Sometimes you got to get lied on. Sometimes you got to be mistreated. But God's favor is still there. The favor has not gone away. So Joseph interprets the dream. Joseph's gift saves the Egyptians and his people. He becomes, in command, the second most powerful person in Egypt. God's favor will prevail. I don't know if God has given you something or favors on you for something and you don't see it yet. You say, yeah, I know things are happening, but I don't see it. It's not manifested yet. I don't see it yet. Let me tell you, God's favor is still there. Stay with the Lord. And that's what Joseph did. He never left God. No matter what happened to him. And I'm sure he was complaining from times and upset at times, but he never left God. And his favor prevailed. So that's how favor works. In the end, it will prevail. Then in Genesis 50, Joseph's family went into famine. There are verses that you get a chance to read the story again. Time won't allow me to go through it. But basically, there was a famine. And Joseph, because of what he did, there was food in Egypt. And his brothers had to come and get food. And Joseph saw them. And he finally confronted them. And here's what Joseph said to them. When they saw him, they went, oh my gosh, this man gonna kill me. He's gonna kill all of us for what we did to him. And Joseph said this, do not be afraid. I am in the place of God. As for you, what you intended against me for evil, God intended for good, in order to accomplish a day like this, to preserve the lives of many people. Final point of favor, God gets the glory. It's all about God. It's for his name's sake. Joseph did not return evil for evil. Brothers and sisters, there's some things that have happened in my life, things that have happened to me that weren't the best. And God has favored me in situations where he's put me in situations and things that I would have never thought I've ever seen or ever done. Don't think that in my flesh would love to be able to say, uh-huh. Y'all thought y'all gonna give me, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Now look at what God done. Now look at me and look at you. But I can't do that. It's because of God. It's because of what God's blessings and his mercy and his grace has done. It's not about me. It's about him. And you're supposed to be using that favor to help people. That's what the favor is for. It's not to lord over people. It's not to say, look at me and look at you. Look what I have and look what you don't have. That's not what God's favor is for. God's favor is specific to help people and for his kingdom to grow and the people to see who God is in his life, in your life. And then what the hope that they could have in you. We want the power that you have. We want the blessings that's on your life. And Jesus called them to himself, the disciples, and said, you know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them. In other words, we let everybody know who we are. That's what the Gentiles do. That's what we do as people. We want you to know how powerful we are, what we have. I want to show you my card and show you my position. I want to show you my car. I want to show you my house. He said, those who are great exercise authority over them, meaning those who are in power, we push the Gentiles or people, push it on it. He says, yet it shall not be so among you. But whoever desires to be great among you, let him be your servant. When God provides favor and gives favor, it is to serve others, not to serve yourself. That's what the favor is for. So God, in the end, gets the glory. God's favor. God can grant favor to any believer at any time. Notice this is for believers. God does not give favor to unbelievers. Well, what about that verse wherever it says the rain falls on the just and the unjust? That's not favor. That some people get degrees and some people don't. Some people get a lot of money and some people don't. No, this is different. This is over and above what you would have expected. And he can give it to anybody and anytime he wants. And you can ask for it. You can pray for favor. So like that verse I shared at the beginning of this Bible study. You can ask for favor. I do. When people say pray for me because I'm going to be doing this or I'm doing that, I pray for favor. I ask for God's favor on that. And he can do that. Number two, don't be surprised if there are those who do not agree or understand God's plan for you. Don't be surprised when you get favor that everybody's not happy for you. Or those who have favor that people are mistreating them. Don't be shocked. Because they don't understand it. There's jealousy. There's people have mean intentions. So don't be surprised. If God has favored you to do something, don't be surprised everybody don't pat you on the back. Good for you. Great. Yeah. That's not what happens. Note that with favor, there will still be obstacles and temptations. There'll still be trouble. Favor does not exempt you from trouble. Favor does not mean you're living on easy street. In fact, in some cases, you'll be challenged. But, my favorite word, but, God will be with you. And the favor goes with you wherever you go. No matter where they put you, God's favor will still shine through. Can't hide it. What did Jesus say? You're a light out like a light on the hill, and you can't follow, and it can't be covered up. People will see it. And number four, God's plan is going to prevail. What that favor is supposed to do in your life is going to prevail, and God's going to get the glory. God's favor. And again, I'll share it again, and I say it again. If you know somebody's got favor in their life, thank God for and follow them. Because the blessings follow them wherever they go. God bless you. God keep you.